Good morning. Sunday today. So I've got today, Monday, Tuesday. I want the car done by Wednesday night so I can drive it on Thursday. So we've got 4 days left. Don't really have a strategy yet. I've got one written in my phone, but I'm going to go eat some breakfast first. Once I get back from breakfast, I think I am going to put the engine mounts on, get the motor and gearbox in, then change the gearbox cross member once it's under the car because it'll be easier. And then I'll basically just leave that in there so that that gigantic pile of parts is just out of sight. Then once that's done, I'm going to chuck, I think, the fuel tank in, which is over the other side of the car. Put that in, and then weld up the rear cradle with the GK Tech cradle brace kit. And whilst I'm doing that, I'm going to weld up the caster arm brackets. And then I can get the rear cradle in the car, the caster arm brackets in the car, the caster arms bolted up, and then that means I can get the tail shaft in from the box, get the wheels on. Wheels can then go on the front, and technically the car can go on the ground. But yes, today's the day we need to get it running because I need to get working on Kale's 180 so it can be ready for a Bissu on Friday. So big push today. Hopefully it doesn't rain. Keen to get it done. Let's go, Conveni. Okay, time to drill a hole for the clutch master. So I've just got the hole saw out here. I bought this super cheap hole saw from the home centre like 6 months ago, so we'll see if this works. Just drilled my pilot hole from the inside, so I'm going to spray this with some inox now and get to drilling. Alright, so you know how I said I got some cheap hole saws from the hardware store? I think they were cheap because they were for wood. There's not much teeth left on that puppy, but it's done the deed. Now I just need to drill the 2 holes for the 2 bolts, and then we can put the master in. And the clutch pedal actually, which is great. All sorted. Like factory, mate. I do realistically need to spray that with some paint because there's just raw steel there, but I have no paint here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray some inox on it and then put it all together because I'm planning on next Monday, not tomorrow Monday, but the Monday after when Matsuru's over, is actually pulling everything out of the engine bay. Sanding the car and spraying the car, so yes, it won't be too long before all this comes back out and then that can be protected properly. Mainly because I'm under a time crunch. I have no paint here and it's going to be a 45-minute round trip to the home centre. So yes, let's chuck this master in. Master's in. Pedals in. Now it's time for the clevis pin. And that's done. I was about to put the accelerator pedal in, but I'm just kind of looking in here as to what I'd need to be moving around in regards to putting the lumen stuff through, and the accelerator's just going to get in the way at the moment. Oh, my torch just went flat. So I'm going to leave that out until these are sorted, because it is only 2 10mm bolts at the bottom there, so yes, that's going to wait. Okay, well, I've just cut this power steering line because it was too long and not actually housed in that. And then these were around the wrong way, so I've moved them around, and then I've extended this line because it was fouling on the turbo inlet. So like a lot of these things I didn't equate for spending time on when reshelling this, but it's better to fix all of these things whilst I can get to them before putting the shell back together. So as frustrating as it is, it's taking me a lot longer. At least I'm making the car more reliable at the same time. So yes, basically everything's ready to go in the engine bay. So what I'm going to do now is pass the engine harness through the firewall and then push it down there, hang it over the side, and then I'm going to remove the engine mount tops off both sides of the motor, and then either sit the engine mounts on the cross member or sit the engine mounts on the motor, and then put the motor and gearbox in. Well guys, full on raining here now, which is a little bit unfortunate. So now it's just incredibly cold and wet. But I've just made some good progress. So the body harness is in all through the front, the engine harness is in, and that's all. Both of those are back down in the car now. So yeah, I wanted to get those done and the fuse box mounted and all that sort of stuff before I put the engine in, because that's all going to be a lot harder to get to once the motor's in there. But I think we're ready to sit the motor in there, so I'm going to clear some stuff out of the way, drag the motor over here, and get my GK Tech mounts out, which are in the car there. Put them on, put the motor and box in the car, change the gearbox cross member mount whilst I'm in there. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to change the return springs for the selector, so that's all sorted, because that's going to be a lot harder to do in the car. So let's do that, and then let's do what I said I was just going to do. Alright, so I've just got the one out. That's the one spring that's on there. It's actually quite soft. I've just pulled this out with a shifter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get these out, feel which spring rate I'm after for the return, and then put some thread tape on those threads and put them back in. Okay, so they come with 3 sets of springs. This is the stiffest set. Don't think I want to put this one in there. That's pretty solid. That's the standard. Be nice to, and then I've put like the mini one with the other one, which makes it a little bit stiffer. So that's what I'm going with. Alright, that's those in now. Stoked. So I'll chuck these old springs in the bin, as well as the old bolts with springs. Make some money from scrap, mate. Alright, let's put the engine mounts on and put this in the car. Alright, just got some new GK Tech engine mounts on it. Just got them kind of sitting there because it'll help me position the motor. Let's get this in the car. Motor's in, but now I have a slight issue. There's no rear cradle in the back of the car, so the pivot point for the jack stands is too far back. Now it's making it fall forward, so a little bit annoying, because now I'm no idea what I'm going to do with the jack. I'm going to have to put the jack at the front, jack the cross member up, and then move those jack stands forward. Sheesh. Motor's in. Everything's connected up. Fuel lines are on. Engine harness is on. Engine grounds are on. Make sure you remember your engine grounds, guys. They are more important than you realise. Especially the one that comes from here and goes to there and to your battery. Super important that you have that. If you don't have that, and this isn't grounded to here, it's grounded on the motor like it's meant to be, nothing's going to work. So engine grounds are super important. Don't forget that. Unfortunately, I need to let the gearbox down because I've accidentally squashed this pipe on top of the bell housing. But I still need to replace the gearbox mount in there with the GK Tech one I've got in one of those boxes. There's probably that one in there. So I do need to let that down. Anyway, I'm going to have a look at the list now, see what needs to be done. I'd like to really tidy this wiring up, snip what I need to, electrical tape what I need to really clean that up. I still need to run this wiring through to that side of the firewall and drill some holes in here so I can get this wiring harness to tuck up in there. But yeah, making progress. Wild to think that this time last week I was pulling that shell apart just to assess the damage. So yes, it's been 8 days since I crashed into a wall and 7 days since I was pulling everything off the front end to just look at how damaged it was and making a plan. So super stoked with the progress I've made. Yeah, it's been a push, that's for sure. Let's keep chipping away. Alright, time to brace up this rear cradle. I've had to balance it on here very carefully. Oh, it's hard to do with one hand. little bit later in the day, I've been helping Bridget straighten the side of her car. But I'm just draining the diff oil now. And I'm about to flip the cradle over so I can brace up the subframe with this GK Tech brace kit. I'll pull all that out so you guys can see what it is. And I'm also going to knock out the factory bushes and put this GK Tech bushings solid subframe risers in there. So these actually rise the subframe as well as make the bushes solid. So yes, just draining the diff oil so that I can flip the cradle all the way over to knock these bushes out. I don't have a big chisel here, which is usually what I use, so I'll work out a way and show you guys for the fastest way possible. Lighting them on fire doesn't do shit. I have seen so many people do that and have no clue why they do, because that just literally gets the center piece out. The bush actually has a shell all the way around the outside, and that's the shell you actually need to get out. So lighting on fire doesn't do anything. I'll show you guys the quickest way if I can work one out with the tools I have. Regardless, I'll show you, but I'll tell you if it's efficient or not. Let's wait for this diff oil to drain, flip it over, knock the bushes out, new bushes in. Might actually go put these in the freezer now so they get nice and cold. And then let's prep the subframe to weld this brace kit in as well. Just putting these in the freezer now to get them nice and cold, so that I suppose I can give them the best chance possible. So if I get them cold, they'll slightly shrink. Who knows how much, who knows if they even will. I don't know the tolerances on something like that, but yes, I need the best chance possible because they're a mission to get back in. Diff oil's all drained. I've drained the diff oil because you've got to flip this over, and if you don't drain the diff oil, it's all going to come out the breather. There was still probably some diff oil still left in there, so I probably will have to clean up a slight mess afterwards. So I'll stick a rag under there to catch what I can in the meantime. But yes, what you need to do with these bushes is there's like this super fine small ring. I don't know if you can really see that around the outside. That's what you need to hit out. So I'll attempt to hit the center out, which isn't going to do anything. But what I usually do is get a chisel and get it between this little I suppose outer race here and then that inner race there, and I hit a chisel in there, and then that frees it up, and then you'll be able to create some distance between the bush and the subframe, and that'll alleviate some pressure, and then you can just knock it out. But yeah, I'm not in Australia anymore, I don't have any tools, so let's get to whacking with whatever we can find. Well, I've got the center out, and as I said, that doesn't do anything. And this is the misconception people have when they light them on fire. All lighting it on fire does is just kill this bush, and then you still need to hit this outer race completely out. So, like I said, don't light them on fire because it won't do anything. Need to get this inner bush, that inner race, down and out. Well, like I said, I have no tools here, so looks like I'm going to sacrifice this flat blade. So probably what's going to happen is I'm going to start smashing on the end of this, and this is just going to end up going all the way up and into the body, and then I'm probably going to have to cut this in half with a grinder to get this just metal piece out, then have to hold this with gloves because of how much vibration it's going to cause, and then try and get this to go down the side of that inside race to push that out. So mission ahead. Well, it didn't take long to get there. Might not have to even use the grinder to get this off. Ooh, see that little fireworks display. But yeah, see what I'm doing here, creating some distance. Oh, that's not what I wanted to happen. Oh, that was a waste of a screwdriver. Jeez. Well, I've been able to create some distance here with this socket, which is probably not going to work for a 21mm anymore, and the drive end is probably going to be damaged. So just beware, whatever tool you do use for this, it's probably not going to be able to be usable again. I have no idea what the correct appliance is for this. Maybe to get a race that's like just a little bit smaller than this, and then you could taper that to it. Someone should make one. So if anyone makes one of these from watching my video, please send me one. I'll pay you. Alright, let's keep going. One bush down. That's how I do it. Don't know how you do it, but if it's lighting on fire, you're full of shit. Let's try and use this for the rest of them and keep using the same process. Well guys, I've absolutely run out of daylight. It's actually a lot darker here than it is on the camera. So, as you know, I snapped the other one off. That's now stuck in that bush. So, I cut the screwdriver handle off this one. And I've made myself a new tip. Sorry, this isn't... there we go. Yes, so... This one's been an absolute dog. Second one out. Made an absolute mess of this one. Let's get the other two. Alright, brought the extension cable out. Got a light going. This is silly. I can't even see this other bush, I'll have to move it. Quickest one yet. That one took about a minute. Last one. Usually the last one's always the CUNT, so we'll see. I snapped the tip off on that one about a quarter of the way down, but I ended up just holding the end of this and driving it through, so that's them done. Not sure if I'll push the other bushes in. Yeah, may as well do that now. So I like to give these a bit of your WD-40. I'll go get the bushes out of the freezer, smash them in, and then we'll prep the rest of the cradle to take the Weldon subframe brace kit. Missions out of 10. Can't imagine they got cold in that time. It's only been like an hour. Alright, WD'd up the cradle. Let's go smash these in. Okay, so I've got this first bush out here. Just started to try drive it through with a rubber mallet. That's definitely not going to work, so I'm going to go find a piece of wood to protect the bottom of the bush, and then I'm going to slam it in with that hammer. It is 6:45. I am making a bit of noise, which I don't like. There is an apartment building right there with probably 10 tenants in it, and I don't want to annoy anyone, so I'm going to try and make this as quick as possible. If I don't have all this done by 7:30, I'm just going to have to come back tomorrow, unfortunately. Last thing I want to do is annoy my neighbours. So, yes. Wish me luck. 45 minutes. Alright, they're in. So I'm not going to talk shit. I started to use this piece of wood, and then it just started to totally split in half. So I kept trying to hit it with the rubber mallet. That wasn't doing anything. So I hit them in with the metal hammer. Would I recommend to do this? Absolutely fucking not. What you could do, and what I possibly have done, is you could actually ruin the chamfer of this. And what happens when you go to put the cradle in, this is going to be too tight. The tolerance is going to be too tight. So to get that in the car is going to be an absolute mission now. So, yeah, unfortunately pressed for time. Let's hope I haven't damaged anything. If you can, just use a press. If you can't, use a big hammer with one of your mates holding a piece of wood. Unfortunately, I've got no one here to help me. I'm doing this on my own. I've been going on this for like a week now, and I'm tired as shit and pressed for time. So yes, that's what I've done. I'm going to drag the rear cradle under there now, get the grinder out so I can be done grinding stuff up for the next 39 minutes before it gets to 7:30, and then weld everything in, put the fuel tank in the car, which is over there, in, check the cradle up. Actually, before I put the cradle in, I've got to put the GK Tech caliper handbrake extenders in there, and also I've got some new GK Tech handbrake cables. I mean, this thing's just getting the GK Tech catalogue at this stage, but it's awesome that they provide all these parts so that when you want to do refresh your 30-year-old binned Nissan, that you can make it feel as fresh as possible. So Yes, let's weld this brace kit in, and it's going to be annoying as fuck to weld that one in where the I think the traction arm goes to, so I might need to remove the lower control arm to do that. But yeah, we'll see how we go. Let's keep going. Well guys, unfortunately I've run out of time for grinding and welding, so I've moved on to the next thing. I'm going to put this fuel tank in to connect up the fuel lines, and then just keep chipping away with what I can interior wise. Change that gearbox mount. Actually, don't really want to be using the rattle gun either, so it's getting to the point where it's almost like I'm going to call it a day. I can use hand tools, I just prefer not to, just because it takes so much longer. So yes, sounding a little bit privileged there, to be honest, but yeah, we'll see how we go. It's had a really good realization moment before when talking to you guys. It's like, oh no, I'm gonna call it a night because I don't want to use hand tools. Like, I'm living in Japan, chasing my dream. I've got a really nice piece of concrete now. I'm always talking about, laying in the dirt, and here I am finding an excuse because I'm a little bit tired, I'm a little bit cold, and it's raining, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to use hand tools, so I'm gonna stop working on the car. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, yeah, it's good to have humbling moments like this, because it's like, no one should ever say they're going to stop working on their car because they can't use power tools. That was just such a dick thing to say. So, yeah. Yeah, it's shit. It's cold. It's raining. But I'm undercover. I'm not laying in dirt. Like, I got light. I got the tools I need. I really don't have any excuse to just not keep going. So, I'm laying on the ground. I'm using my hand tools. And we're getting this bitch done. Fuel tank's in. Stoked. Now just got to connect up the fuel lines and work out how to get this O-ring or grommet to house this filler, and then that'll be that done. And we'll start chipping away at something else. Well guys, unfortunately I have somehow cracked the fuel tank. See this little crack here? It's just weeping out of there. As you can see, a little bit frustrating, but it does look a bit rusty in that area. This fuel tank has been in this car for God knows how long. If it's the factory one, it's been in here for 30 years, so I'm going to fuel tank's going to drain until it's about half, so this is just going to keep weeping all night, unfortunately. I'm going to try catch it in something, but yeah, I'm going to have to get some metal putty, because obviously I'm not going to weld that, and then just metal putty it and hope for the best. Probably going to call it a night there. I'm stoked that the fuel tank's in. I might connect up the fuel lines, at least that way I can have that done and get this bolted up for the breather. And then at least I can tick off, fit fuel tank, tick, and then it's done, so I don't have to have anything lingering on the list. So let's get these fuel lines connected, and then let's call it a night. Alright, fuel lines are done. Stoked. I've just ordered some metal putty off Amazon, so that's going to get here tomorrow. I'd like to kind of fix up in here too, actually. Wonder if I can bend that back to where it's meant to be and bolt that up. That'd be nice. Cut this off so it's mounted properly. That'd be really nice. So might do that, then call it a night. Mate, as factory as they come. Not bad. Fuel tank installation done. Stockhead. Let's get the silicon out of here. Look at that. Look at that. Alright. See what's next on the list, but I am pretty tired and cold and dirty. So I might call it a night. See what's on the list. If I can be effed, you'll see me shortly. If I can't, you'll see me tomorrow. Hope everyone's well. Talk to you guys soon.